MarbleHornets is a YouTube webseries and ARG inspired by the Slender Man online mythos. The first episode was posted on YouTube on June 20, 2009, following a post its creator Troy Wagner created on Something Awful the previous day. To date, there are 87 entries chronicling the series. The series also has several accompanying videos from a side channel, totheark. These videos, as well as the eponymous totheark, have been featured multiple times throughout the story. Synopsis: the series follows Jay, a young man trying to discover what transpired during the filming of his friend Alex's film school project, which was titled MarbleHornets. Alex had been filming the project sporadically for about 2 months before suddenly stopping without any explanation. Afterwards, Alex withdrew from society and his friends, never mentioning the tapes until Jay persuaded Alex to give them to him. Alex handed them over, but with the explicit instructions that Jay was to never mention the tapes to him again. Alex then transferred schools and dropped out of contact with Jay. 3 years later, Jay remembers the tapes and begins to watch them in order to find out why production was stopped. Shortly thereafter, Jay begins to experience strange and eerie phenomena surrounding the tapes and a mysterious persona known only as the operator. Plot: Season 1. The series begins with Jay explaining how in 2006, he received multiple tapes documenting the production of MarbleHornets, the student film that his old friend, Alex Crowley, had been working on. Disturbed by an unexplained, faceless figure appearing in several of the tapes and cryptic responses messages from another channel named totheark, Jay decides to go deeper. He personally questions Tim, the only cast member of the student film he is able to find, but mostly comes up empty-handed. Shortly thereafter, an anonymous source points Jay in the direction of an abandoned house where Alex might be found, once belonging to Alex's friend and MarbleHornets actor, Brian. Upon searching the house in darkness a second time, Jay encounters a masked figure downstairs, who attacks him. Jay manages to escape, and later wakes up in his car by some woods. He claims to have no memory of how he got there. Feeling paranoid, Jay sets up a security camera in his house to watch him while he sleeps. While watching it back, he finds out that the masked man somehow got into his bedroom and apparently abducted him while he was sleeping. Like before, Jay has no memory of the encounter that evening, however a totheark video which follows shows Jay in an unconscious state, and in close proximity to the operator. This footage is likely what happened to Jay while missing from his bedroom. While searching through the final tapes from MarbleHornets production, Jay finds a recording of a script reading in which Tim appears very ill, taking medication from an orange bottle. Totheark prompts Jay to visit a shooting location from MarbleHornets, a red tower apparently once used as a climbing wall. At the tower, Jay finds a tape, likely left there by totheark. The tape contains footage of Alex and cameraman Seth exploring an underground boiler room of some sort, where Seth is injured in some way. The tape ends with Alex speaking to the camera in his home, proclaiming that the entire cast and crew of MarbleHornets is gone, including Seth and Jay. As he speaks, a shadow seemingly reaches into his head. On a third visit to the house, Jay encounters the operator, which leads to him losing consciousness. Jay flees his home after the masked man breaks into the MarbleHornets channel and posts a threatening video in totheark style. Sometime after leaving, Jay learns from a relative that his apartment burned down. Jay is prepared to give up trying to find out the truth, until he receives a mysterious tape in the mail. The tape shows Alex, living safely with his girlfriend, Amy. Amy finds Alex's old camera, which puts Alex in a state of unease. The operator appears before the two and the tape cuts out before their fate can be made clear. The video ends with the scribbled word "help" on a red background. Jay decides that he must find Alex. Season 2, 7 months after pledging to find Alex, Jay awakens at a hotel, his memory of the past 7 months a complete blank. One of his only leads is a safe in his hotel room, but he doesn't know the combination. He soon discovers he's not the only one in this strange situation, as the woman in the room next to his, Jessica, confesses to having a huge gap in her memory as well. Jay decides to give up on the safe and escape with Jessica, but she disappears without a trace while he's gathering his things. A note with the combination to his safe is left behind in Jessica's room, which he uses to open the safe. Upon opening it, Jay finds that it contains multiple tapes, as well as a hard drive. As Jay is putting the contents of the safe into his bag, the masked man enters his room and attacks him. Jay is able to fight back, and escapes the hotel. Noticeably, the masked man limps whenever he runs or walks. The tapes found in the safe document what happened over the 7 months that Jay cannot recollect. Several of the tapes depict Jay visiting Rosewood Park, a large park nearby. The first event documented is Jay investigating the return address of the tapes that showed Alex and Amy's run-in with the operator. Upon finding Alex the second visit, they encounter the masked man who stabs Alex with a knife. Jay and Alex subdue him together and remove the mask, revealing he is actually Tim, the actor from MarbleHornets that Jay had previously questioned. To Jay's shock, Alex then picks up a block of cement and breaks Tim's leg, claiming it's to make sure they aren't followed. Jay and Alex form a very shaky alliance, with the intention of finding Amy. Along the way, the operator finds Alex again and begins to deteriorate his sanity. In the present, after posting the first 3 last 7-month tapes, Jay reports on Twitter that he just woke up near the Red Tower again, implied to be the work of totheark. Jay returns to his hotel room to find that totheark posted a video on his MarbleHornets channel again. The tape is dated April 4, 1991, Alex's 6th birthday party, and the operator is present, causing distortion in audio and visual tearing. The tape is implied to be totheark's way of blaming Alex for everything that has happened. Nevertheless, Jay continues through the tapes. Jay and Alex plan to meet in Rosewood Park to discuss how they will progress. While waiting for Alex, Jay wanders into the woods, and encounters the operator in a clearing. He drops the camera and flees, and shortly after, the camera is retrieved and returned to Jay's car by a mysterious hooded figure. Alex, ensnared by the operator's influence, later returns alone to the forest. He collapses upon seeing the operator, and then climbs to his feet and calmly walks towards the entity in submission. At night, the masked Tim lures Alex out of his home, and with the help of the hooded figure, attempts to kill him. As Alex fails to contact Jay for long periods of time, Jay grows distrustful of him, leading to a falling out between the two. Jay forces Alex to give him the phone number of Amy's roommate, Jessica, as he has no other remaining leads. Jay's next move is to follow Alex, observing his actions. He is unable to catch up on one particular occasion, but as Jay in the present day has access to Alex's hard drive, he finds the footage from Alex's perspective. The footage from Alex's camera shows that he is aware of Jay following him, and shows Alex sitting outside a tunnel in the middle of Rosewood Park. When a stranger inquires as to what he is doing, Alex flies into a rage and kills the man, crashing his head with a large rock. The operator suddenly appears, and takes the body. Jay breaks into Alex's house to try and find anything which might reveal his true motives. He grabs a tape before leaving. This tape shows Alex and Brian filming on location at an abandoned hospital. The operator appears, and Brian loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds Tim huddled on the floor of the room. He is then subdued by an unseen attacker, and dragged from the room. Alex contacts Jay, telling him to bring Jessica and meet him in Rosewood Park, as he has something important to show them. Once the three are alone in a shed, Alex pulls a gun on the pair and declares his intention to kill them, blaming Jay for having shared the tapes on YouTube. Before Alex can fire, the masked Tim intervenes and subdues him. While Jay and Jessica flee amid the scuffle, a single gunshot is fired. The two return to the hotel, where they are both attacked by the operator, causing their memories to be erased. After piecing together the truth of the missing 7 months, through the tapes which reveal the above events, Jay is determined to stop Alex before he harms anyone else. While walking through town, he sees Tim, maskless and going about his day. Jay decides to follow him, as it's the only lead he has left. Season 3, after tracking Tim to a local doctor's office, Jay tries to enlist his help in the investigation under the guise of finishing MarbleHornets, and manages to obtain more tapes taking place during production of the film. Looking through the tapes, it is revealed that Alex attacked him while they were supposedly location scouting at the abandoned hospital, and left him for the operator, explaining the footage of Brian finding Tim there. In the present, Tim reluctantly agrees to visit the hospital with Jay. There, they encounter the hooded man, who Jay chases but eventually loses. Tim starts to grow increasingly suspicious of Jay's true intentions, and they soon part for the day. Off-screen, Tim does an internet search for MarbleHornets, and finds all of the entries that Jay has posted online, and inadvertently finds out the extent of his actions under his masked persona, as well as how his leg was broken. He asks to meet Jay one evening. When Jay arrives, Tim punches him in the face, furious that Jay lied to him about why he wanted to look through the tapes and go to the hospital. Tim claims that he has no memory of his masked episodes and that he has not had any for a while. He criticizes Jay for trying to drag him back into the situation, as well as ruining the lives of multiple people, like Jessica and himself. Sometime later, Jay revisits the abandoned hospital alone, and enters a maintenance tunnel which he believes the hooded man escaped through during their last encounter. At the end of the tunnel, he finds medical records belonging to Tim, as well as a doll resembling the operator. As he tries to leave, the operator appears in the tunnel, and Jay barely escapes. Jay's YouTube account is hacked, and a video is uploaded, which shows the hooded figure breaking into Tim's house and stealing some medication, causing Tim to suffer a seizure and then lapse back into his masked persona. Jay manages to find Tim in Rosewood Park, the two struggle, and Tim eventually drags Jay away. Jay wakes up the next day in a decrepit shack somewhere in the park, and finds Tim nearby. After the two get their bearings, they pair up again. Jay and Tim's first steps are to investigate some of the key areas Jay and Alex have been to before, in order to find any clues as to Alex's fate after he attempted to kill Jessica and Jay. While going through the tunnel at Rosewood Park where Alex killed the stranger, Jay receives a phone call from Alex, revealing that he is alive. Alex instructs the two to leave immediately. Tim suddenly suffers from a coughing fit and collapses. The operator appears and approaches the pair, and Jay is forced to flee as the operator bears down upon Tim. Tim is subjected to mental and physical torture, being forced underwater, dragged along the ground, and teleported between multiple locations, including a dark world where the dead body of the man Alex killed can be seen, preserved in time. Tim escapes the woods and returns to his car, where Jay soon finds him. Tim stares emptily at Jay and drives away, retreating to the abandoned hospital, where he suffers a mental breakdown and eventually ODs on his medication. Tim asks Jay to return to the hospital with him, where Tim confesses to being a former mental patient. He admits that he is plagued by the guilt of the possibility that the hallucinations he endured as a child were in fact the real presence of the operator, in which case it would be him who brought it into the lives of his friends. While searching the hospital, the two see the hooded figure and quietly pursue him. The hooded person first checks on a tape on the floor of a room before leaving the building and disappearing from sight. Jay retrieves the tape, later commenting that it appeared to have been there for some time. The tape shows Alex arriving at the hospital and searching for Tim after following him from Rosewood Park, and being stopped by the hooded person and Tim, maskless but still in masky mode. Jay concludes that their location is no longer safe, and flees the town with Tim, returning to the town where Alex originally lived and attended college. While investigating nearby the location of the Red Tower, Tim and Jay come across holes, in which there are dozens of burned tapes. Jay manages to salvage two of them. One details the night Alex's sanity started to deteriorate, and hints that the tapes were burned to protect Amy away from the operator. Another one details his initial encounter with Alex, when he asked for the MarbleHornets tapes prior to him leaving to be with Amy. Alex gave them to Jay, but then followed Jay outside and attempted to strangle him before leaving him for the operator. Jay has no recollection of being attacked by Alex that evening, and begins to question what other memories may have been erased due to exposure to the operator. Jay and Tim search Alex's old house, and find nothing but a number of drawings which reveal Alex's belief that he had successfully gave the entire cast and crew of MarbleHornets to the operator. While there, Tim expresses his concern for Jay's mental health, as the latter claims to have seen something and caught it on his camera, while the footage reveals to Tim and Jay that the latter was hallucinating. They enter the basement of the house, and it is dark. It is then revealed that the basement has windows that sunlight would be able to shine through, but is not. It has become night in the short while that Jay and Tim took to go downstairs. While searching downstairs in the house, the operator appears. The two manage to escape the house, but the operator follows them outside. Jay collapses on the ground, while Tim manages to stand and face the entity. The operator vanishes, and Tim brings Jay back to their car. The hooded man again breaks into Jay's YouTube account, uploading a video which shows him entering Tim's house to steal medication and use it for himself. The hooded man shows a tape hidden in Tim's house, with a flash of the word liar edited into the image. The man then flees as he sees somebody climbing down from the attic. Upon seeing this video, Tim concludes that the person living in the attic is Alex. After some time, Jay returns to a state of full awareness. Tim concludes that, somehow, pills played a large role in his ability to withstand the operator's psychological and physical influence. The two agree to go to Tim's house and confront Alex, and also seek psychological help for Jay. On the way to Tim's house, Jay asks Tim about the tape shown in the hooded man's video. Tim is evasive on the matter. The two search the house for Alex and the hooded figure, but they are already gone. What they do find is a photo of Amy left behind, with the address 79, South Creek Road written on the back. While searching the rest of the house, Jay spots the tape in Tim's pocket, and confronts him aggressively. Jay flees with the tape, which Tim insists Jay cannot watch yet, as it will ruin their investigation. The contents show the hooded figure and the masked Tim taking Jessica away from the hotel the night of her disappearance. They are stopped by Alex, who tries to lure her into a secluded area and kill her. Jessica disarms Alex and runs, only to be attacked by the operator. There is no trace of her body afterwards, leaving her fate uncertain. Jay goes back to Tim's house with a knife in hand, and demands answers. Tim confesses to hiding the tape, as he knew Jay would blame him for what happened. Tim ties up Jay to keep him from acting recklessly and heads out to 79 South Creek Road alone, which turns out to be a college campus filled with disused buildings, where Amy went to school. Jay is freed by the hooded figure while Tim is gone. The hooded figure leaves, and follows after Tim. While searching an old basement, Jay suddenly finds himself cornered by Alex, who wordlessly shoots him. Jay shuts himself in a room, and while bleeding out, is taken by the operator. Tim later comes across Jay's camera, the contents of which reveal his death to Tim. Tim is horrified and swears to carry on in Jay's footsteps. He discovers some footage on Jay's laptop, which documents Jay leaving a voicemail message for Tim in which he apologizes for his aggression, and says he holds no resentment against Tim for what happened to Jessica. The video ends as Jay is attacked by the operator. Tim clarifies that he never received the message, and suspects that Jay was under the operator's influence when he showed up at Tim's house with a weapon, as his actions directly contradicted the apology in this video. Later, a cryptic video is posted by totheark, ending with the words, "Regards, IABNR," and a flash of the hooded man's mask. While investigating the campus, Tim encounters the hooded man, who taunts Tim with the stolen pills, and offers to give them to him if he becomes his masked persona again. The operator appears, and both Tim and the hooded man flee. The operator teleports the two through a series of locations, including a distorted version of Tim's house, where Jay's dead body appears in front of him. The hooded man appears, and a prolonged chase ensues. Tim swings a wrench at the hooded man as he dangles from a windowsill, causing him to fall to his death. Tim retrieves the pills and finds a tape in the man's pocket. Tim and the body are then teleported to the dark realm where Tim previously saw the body of Alex's victim. Before Tim can unmask the hooded man, he is teleported to an open field outside the abandoned hospital. Tim returns home. he watches the tape he took from the Hooded Man, and discovers footage from Alex's original auditions for MarbleHornets. The only two applicants are Tim and his then close friend Brian. Following auditions, Alex experiences what is likely his first encounter with the operator. Tim notes that Brian's hooded sweatshirt is identical to the Hooded Man's, realizing that the two are the same person. Knowing that Alex is likely following the YouTube account, Tim states that he will be waiting in his house for Alex to arrive. After several weeks of waiting for Alex, Tim stakes out his own house for a few days. One night Alex infiltrates Tim's house, dousing the floor with lighter fuel while Tim watches in hiding. Alex condemns Tim as the source of the operator's influence, as is supported by the fact that Alex was first stalked by the operator the night after meeting Tim. Tim escapes the house with his car keys and his pill bottle as Alex sets the house alight, implying that Alex was also responsible for the previous burning of Jay's apartment. Returning to Benedict Hall, Tim searches for Alex. Alex fires multiple shots at Tim, however the operator appears and hurtles the two through multiple locations. As this occurs, Alex reveals that his attempts to kill everybody who had been exposed to the operator were in order to try and eliminate the operator itself. He also reveals that he killed Amy himself, which suggests that investigating her disappearance was a false pretense to lure Jay to his death. Alex confirms Tim's fears that the Hooded Man was Brian, and asks how it feels to have killed his friend. Tim is able to gain the upper hand in an ensuing physical struggle, and cuts Alex's neck. In his dying breaths, Alex instructs Tim that he must kill any other victim of the operator who is still alive, and then himself. Tim succumbs to a coughing fit and collapses on the ground, and Alex's body is taken by the operator. 4 days after Alex's death, Tim attends an appointment at his mental facility, and meets Jessica outside. The conversation that follows reveals that Tim has known Jessica's location the entire time, and she is using the same pills that he relies on. She does not seem to remember any of her past encounters with the operator, or having met Jay at all. Tim lies to her, saying that Jay has moved away. It is implied that Tim has purposefully kept Jessica uninvolved, hence hiding her survival from Jay, perhaps having even edited the footage of her disappearance to suggest her being taken by the operator. Tim tells Jessica that he plans to leave town, and then collapses in a sudden coughing fit. The footage cuts off, and the outcome is not clear. Tim is then shown driving with a blank stare, with sirens vaguely audible in the background. He reaches a fork in the road, and the screen cuts to black, leaving the direction he takes ambiguous. A line of narrative text appears, "Everything is fine." Characters, major characters, Jay Merrick, the protagonist of the majority of the series. A friend of Alex, Jay uploads the entries in an attempt to discover exactly what happened during the filming of MarbleHornets. He is portrayed by Troy Wagner. Alex Crowley, the director of the original MarbleHornets student film project and the protagonist of roughly the first half of the first season. Alex used to attend the same school as Jay, but transferred schools. He is the director of an unfinished student project entitled MarbleHornets, which he dropped without any explanation. During the latter part of the series, he serves as a secondary antagonist towards Jay and Tim. He is portrayed by Joseph Delage. Timothy Wright, the Masked Man, a former actor from the MarbleHornets student film, and initially the only cast or crew member that Jay can find. Later on begins stalking Jay under his alternate masked persona. However, Tim eventually allies with Jay in the third season of the series. He is portrayed by Tim Sutton. Totheark, a persona that has uploaded several responses to Jay's entries. For the first season of the series, it is operated mainly by Tim under the influence of a masked persona. It is later taken over in the second and third seasons by the Hooded Man. Brian Thomas, the Hooded Man. Brian was the main actor in Alex Crowley's project, and was assaulted by Alex, later returning as a mysterious hooded figure who works against Alex and Tim. He is portrayed by Brian Haight. Jessica Locke, a woman that Jay meets in the second season and is somehow connected to Alex and the operator. She is portrayed by Jessica May. The operator, an entity of unknown origin. begins appearing to Alex during the shooting of MarbleHornets. When Jay personally investigates Alex's disappearance, he encounters the operator as well. Minor characters: Seth Wilson. Seth was a cameraman for MarbleHornets, and was apparently taken by the operator near the end of production, at Alex's will. He is portrayed by Seth MacKay. Sarah Reed. Sarah was an actor in MarbleHornets, and makes only one appearance in the series. Believed by Alex to be dead. She is portrayed by Mary Kathleen Bishop. Amy Walters. Amy was Alex's girlfriend after he dropped the MarbleHornets project. She appears once when the operator appears near her and Alex, and was sought by Jay and Alex in Season 2. Alex later admits to have killed her much earlier on. She is played by Bethan Williams and My Yemen. Development and reception: Wagner and Delage began working on the webseries after reading about the Slender Man mythos and because both liked the ease of creating a YouTube series. The initial budget for the series was about $500, which the two used to create the first 26 episodes. They decided against making a set time for each entry, as they both determined that the characters filming the entries would not consider the length of the episode and that the random entry times would help add to the realism. The entire series is edited with the software Sony Vegas Pro. After its release, the series' popularity grew, drawing comparisons to Lonely Girl 15 and Connect with I. In 2013, Dread Central named MarbleHornets one of their top 10 horror fan films, noting that while it is an unregistered trademark, technically a film, it still contained an interwoven examination of the mythical Slender Man, and that they felt it was what quality fanfare and found footage is really all about. Early during the airing of Season 1, the series received praise from Roger Ebert. In May 2014, the developers launched a Kickstarter, raising funds for the DVD release of the third season. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with the original goal of $8,000 in donations being exceeded by nearly $80,000. These funds went towards further projects, including a box set and new supplementary material in the form of scenes from Alex Crowley's MarbleHornets. Film adaptation: in February 2013, Variety announced that plans were underway to produce a film adaptation of MarbleHornets. They also announced that the script will be written by Ian Short, that James Moran would direct, and that Doug Jones would be portraying the operator in the film. In October of the same year, Wagner announced on his blog that the movie had finished filming and that the movie would not be a continuation of the YouTube series but would be set within the same universe. Anthony Rogers joined the cast. References. External links: official YouTube channel, MarbleHornets at the Internet Movie Database, MarbleHornets at the Internet Movie Database.